In the last round of 1978 USSR Championship, 15-year-old Garry Kasparov, who was competing at that strong event for the first time, faced the 8th world chess champion Mikhail Tal. The exchange variation of Ruy Lopez led to quick simplifications, and on move 17, having a completely equal position on the board, the players agreed to a draw. Thus Mikhail Tal secured himself the gold medal, while Kasparov landed in the 9th place. After shaking hands, they moved to press center and asked for a chess clock. A blitz match of 14 games would soon start, driving the attention of everyone passing nearby. Time passed on, and those games were considered to be lost forever, until in 2019, Alexander Nikitin published them in his book Coaching Kasparov Year by Year and Move by Move. It turns out that when they returned to their hotel room, Nikitin gave Kasparov an exercise book, and the future world chess champion wrote down the annotations of all those 14 games without looking at the board. I bought that book, and now we can enjoy those games together. Hello chess lovers, Soren here, and in this video we're going to cover the first game of that 14-game match. What is interesting, those games can be found nowhere in the internet, and strangely they are not even appearing in ChessBase database. These are the only games played between Tal and Kasparov which you can find in ChessBase. So in this game Tal had white pieces and he opened up with e4, to which Kasparov answered with Sicilian defense. Knight f3, d6, d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, knight f6, knight c3, and a6. Neither variation is on the board. Bishop g5, Tal is going for the main line, f4, b5, and e5. Tal is choosing a very aggressive line, which requires an utmost precision from black's side. Yes, black has to be very careful when defending. This line is full of sharp tactical sacrifices, and one wrong step can lead to a total collapse. D takes e5, f takes e5, queen c7. Now if, for example, e takes f6, then queen e5 check, winning back the sacrificed piece. This is all theory, that's why Tal played queen e2. By the way, e takes f6 is also playable, and already white wants to win this knight, that's why we see knight fd7 by Kasparov, Tal castled queenside, and bishop b7. Well, winning this pawn is not good. For example, if queen takes e5, then after an exchange of queens on e5, white has this knight takes b5 move, and now white is creating two mating threads. Or after castling queenside, if knight takes e5, then again knight takes b5 is winning on the spot. If here, then you can even go for a queen sacrifice. An opera mate is coming, the queen is untouchable. So in the game we see the most popular theoretical move, bishop b7 and queen g4 by Tal. Earlier we have already seen knight takes e6. That was a game played by Tal against an amateur during a chess simul. And this is also playable according to Stockfish. That's a very strong move, but the engine prefers queen g4. On your screen you can see the evaluation. If f takes e6, then queen g4. Now in here, queen takes e5 is the most accurate move, but in that game queen b6 was made and Tal made a blockading exchange sacrifice, after which the pawn on e6 dropped, and then bishop c4 followed, threatening checkmate, also freeing this f1 square for the rook. B takes c4, rook f1 check. I'm going through that game, played in 1963, and then the second exchange sacrifice followed, and finally a checkmate appeared on the board. But in this game we see queen g4 by Tal, queen b6. Winning this pawn is also playable. Again, Tal has a game with this queen g4 line. That game I also covered. If here, then bishop e2 or bishop d3. In that game played by Tal against an amateur during a simul in 1973, this is what happened on the board. Black made a mistake, played knight takes f6, and very quickly his position collapsed. At this point Tal made a queen sacrifice, The idea is that if here, then bishop takes b5 check, opening up the d file, and then knight c7 checkmate. That's why black covered the king, but anyways, bishop b5 check followed, and with knight c7 Tal forced the resignation. If king f8, you can even play queen c8 check, sacrifice your queen, but this is allowing white to mate faster. Let's go back. We deviated from the main game too much. So after bishop b7, we see queen g4 by Tal, queen b6, and bishop e2. Finally, Kasparov accepted the pawn sacrifice, and we have queen h3, still keeping an eye on e6. But winning this pawn is a very dangerous thing, you know. Now white will play rook e1 and will put a very useful pressure down the e file. Knight d7, rook e1, h6, bishop f4, bishop c5. So far so good, but this bishop c5 is a mistake. Theory recommends bishop e7. The bishop can later cover black king. But in the game we see bishop c5, and now let's see what's the problem with it. As we've reached the critical position, you can pause the video and try to find Tal's next move. Ready? Well, everything is ready for a heavy blow, and Tal went for knight takes e6. How do you like this beauty, guys? This is a very thematic sacrifice in neither variation in the main line, and I'm sure that Tal made this move without hesitating. Now if queen takes e6, then bishop g4, followed by bishop takes d7. That's why Kasparov accepted the knight sacrifice with the pawn, but this time he weakened this diagonal, and bishop h5 check followed. King e7, and the knight on e5 dropped. White has a completely winning position. Materially the players are equal, but this black king is in danger and has no chance of surviving. Rook f8, queen g3, g5, queen d3. White managed to weaken black's king side, and now this queen is ready to intrude inside the opponent's camp. Queen d7 can be a threat, queen h7, yeah, king f6. Black is probably provoking white to sacrifice this rook. For example, now if queen g6 check, then black can munch this rook, and this is actually an inaccurate sacrifice. Black is managing to prevail. You can't do much. If check, then rook f6. That's why too, king f6, Tal answered with a cold-hearted rook e1 move. Now queen g6 is the threat. Black played rook g8 and queen h7, after which Kasparov resigned. White is not only creating queen f7 threat, but also queen h6, and there is no defense. You can't neutralize all those threats. For example, if rook g7, then okay, queen h6 is also winning, but according to Stockfish, this leads to a checkmate faster, and only then queen h6, yeah, and then queen takes g6 checkmate. So this was game 1, and Tal confidently crushed the future world chess champion. In the upcoming videos, I'm planning to cover all those 14 games. Thanks for watching, hope that you enjoyed this interesting game, and we'll see you in my next video. Take care.